What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day today, and I hope it gets even better from watching this video. Today we're chatting all about how to I can't say that word. Strategically plan for like a new chapter, new beginning, fresh start. So I made this kind of structured plan of different exercises and journaling prompts to reset and then help you plan for a new beginning. So you can either use this for the start of the new year coming up, or you can use it at any point you need a fresh start, because sometimes that's just what you need. So yeah, anytime you want to do this, I personally am doing it for the start of the new year. So we have more than enough time to get all this done. And I will be making vlogs kind of following my journey of resetting and then planning. And I'm thinking of doing a Notion template that I can share with you guys, but let me know if you want that, because it takes a long time. So if you don't want it, then that's one less thing on my to-do list, which is always fun. So just let me know. If you're new here, by the way, I'm Nika. I make content all about self-development in a very strategic, organized to-do list form, because sometimes these things can get overwhelming and you just need this is exactly what you should try out. So if that's up your alley, make sure to subscribe and stick around for the new videos coming up. I post every single weekend, and you can also check out my other social media. I'll have it all linked below. Alrighty, let's stop this ramble sesh and let's get straight into it. So as I already mentioned, I have different journaling prompts and then 3 different exercises. You can do all of them, or you can pick and choose what you want to do. It's totally up to you, but I just wanted to give you as many resources as possible, and then you can just decide for yourself. The first thing that I wanted to mention, it doesn't really include any exercises or prompts, but it's something that really helps me to start this reset off in a good way, and that's to kind of declutter your whole space, to do a deep clean, declutter your closet, just your home in general, your car, your office, just to really feel like this is a fresh start. You know, your environment really reflects usually how you feel, and it can really influence how you feel. So it's just a nice way to get it started. Another decluttering thing that I like to do is another word I can't pronounce, digital declutter. So that includes kind of clearing up your computer, your downloads, all the screenshots we take. Jesus Christ, when do I actually look at them? Never. Anyway, your desktop, your email inbox, your photos, your notes app, all of that. You just want to make your space super clear and clean and just feel like there's room for new things, you know? Okay, now let's actually get into the journaling prompts and the exercises. The first half of this is going to be a review of 2023, so we can really have a good feeling of what we've done, what we didn't do but wanted to do, what could have been better, what we loved. We just want to have a very clear picture, because that's going to help you so much in terms of what you want to do moving forward. So the first journaling prompt is 2023 was the year that I ... Here you just want to write about a broad picture of what 2023 was about for you. Then you want to write a list of your highlights and accomplishments for the year. If you're having trouble recalling everything, I highly recommend doing it in categories. You can start with personal development, then relationships, then school or career, kind of your daily life, habits, routines, financial. That kind of helps you write down as many as possible, because a lot of the things we forget about. And remember that a lot of accomplishments and wins and successes can be very small things. Then you're going to write down your top 3 favorite memories, just because that feels really good. Then, who are the people who were the biggest part of your year? Then we're going into more deeper reflections, right? So what made me feel the most passionate this year? What made me feel the most at peace? What made me feel the most accomplished? What amplified my energy most? So what were the things that when you were doing them, you just felt alive and oh my God, I got so much energy from that? Whether it's hanging out with a specific friend, or it might be I got really into designing my apartment this year, and that gave me so much energy. Then on the flip side, what drained my energy the most? What is one action I kept doing that was keeping me stuck? So this is something that you keep doing that kind of feels like that you should have left in the past, or something that just doesn't align with who you feel like you are now or where you want to be headed. And then what is the one reoccurring thing I kept telling myself that is keeping me stuck? For example, you want to have your own business, but you keep telling yourself, I am not smart enough for that. That can be an example here. So just something that is kind of clashing with what you want to be doing and holding you back. It's just good to have awareness of that so that when you're making a plan for the new year, you can take that into account and maybe start working on it. I gave a little exercise of how to start shifting that in my last video, so I'll link that down below also if you want to get started now. What is the one thing I really needed in 2023 but was not able to give to myself consistently? So if that was support, how can you maybe in 2024 give yourself more support? Like what would make you feel more supported? And of course you can include the people in your life, but we're really practicing being more accountable of our lives and our relationship with ourselves and really taking it into our own hands. And I will link a video about a victim narrative down below if this resonates. I've been there. I was such a victim years ago, so no judgment here, but it is like a helpful video if you want to work on that. I also talked about this in my last video as well. Sorry if I'm going to keep mentioning other videos, but I've really covered a lot of topics already. So if something is related, I'll just let you know. You can watch it, you don't have to watch it, whatever floats your boat, okay? Then we're going more broad picture again. One thing I am leaving in 2023 is, and there might be more things you want to leave in 2023, but let's just write that one thing that you feel like is going to make the biggest difference and something that you really want to focus on. Oh, my leg is falling asleep. Next one, what were the lessons I've learned in 2023? A lot of like the failures or mistakes that we've made can turn into the best lessons that can really help you move forward. I think it's so important to acknowledge those, even if you kind of feel like, that's not so fun to think about. Like it turned into something good because you learned from it. So just write as many as you can think of. And then you can either underline, or this can be a separate prompt, what was my grand lesson of 2023? When I look back on my years, there's always something that year in the grand scheme of things represents. Like that year, I really learned what I don't want in a relationship, and I am forever changed because of it. Or this one year, I really learned how to take my finances into my own hands and start budgeting and like saving, and that changed me so much that I will never be the same again. Obviously, it can be smaller things also. It doesn't matter. Just something that this year represents that was like, even if it was a really awful year, at least you can take something very substantial from it. And you're like, okay, it was not a good year. I've learned all these lessons, but this is my main takeaway. And this is what made it all maybe, hopefully, worth it. Even if it didn't make it feel worth it, this is what I can take away, and it makes me feel like it wasn't all done in vain. You know, I actually can take something from this, and that feels really good and empowering. Second to last, how did my life evolve in 2023? Or what was kind of new about 2023? How did you like move the needle in 2023? And then lastly, what about 2023 am I most grateful for? Just to like end it on a really sweet, happy note. Okay, so those were all the prompts to kind of review 2023. Now let's get into the 3 exercises that you can try out. These are kind of a mix of like a review and then where you want to go. So the first one that I really, really love, because my brain works in a very like strategic, organized way. So this is like, it's like a drug for me. And that is an exercise called the Wheel of Life. I'm going to have it on the screen here, but you can just type into Google the Wheel of Life. You can download a copy, print it out, or like fill it out on your iPad or whatever you want to do. But basically it has different categories. So this one that I pulled up, I'll have it on the screen, has like money and finances. So that's one category. Then career and work, health and fitness, fun and recreation, environment, community, family, friends, blah, blah, blah. So there's different categories, and then you have levels from 1 to 10. So you're going to color in kind of your satisfaction levels. You're kind of rating your 2023 self. So you color that in, and then you draw a dot of where you wish to be in the next year. Let's say my spirituality is at an 8. And I'm happy with that. I'm content with that. I don't really want to work towards that. Like I am good at an 8. So I'll just draw the dot where I've colored it in already. But then let's say with career and work, I'm at a 6 and I want to be at a 9. So now I know that one of the main categories for me to focus on in the new year is going to be career and work. So that is exercise number 1. If you're going to be doing all of these 3 exercises, I would do this one first for sure, because it gives you kind of a more strategic, objective view. And that is very helpful sometimes. The next one, you're going to need 2 pages side by side. So you're going to draw your current self. It can be a stick figure. Okay, it really doesn't matter. I am no artist. I draw a stick figure and we're good to go. And then you're going to write where you're at, kind of your thoughts, who's in your life, what you're doing, your hobbies, your work. Like you just write the things that stand out. So in like 10 years, when you look back at who you were at 2023, this is a very clear picture. And you can just write it. You can print photos and make it very visual. If you're a great artist, girl, draw, paint, do a sculpture. Doesn't matter. And then on the next page, you're going to draw your future self. So this is where you want to be. I like to do this like a year from now. This is where I'm going to be because it's more broad and that works for me. But it's up to you. And this is such a good thing to go back and look on at the end of the year and really see how you've grown and how you've improved and if you are where you want it to be, or maybe it's even better. We don't know. We don't know. The next one is similar. So again, you don't need to do both of these. These are just different exercises and you can pick and choose what you want to do. This is your favorite self. If you are someone like me who's a perfectionist and things like your highest self, your best self kind of make you feel overwhelmed, I'm not very good at like looking at big picture, like where you want to be in 10 years. It stresses me out. And I put so much pressure on myself. Like it's really not good for me. So I've cracked the code with asking myself, when am I my favorite self? Because when you're trying to be your favorite self, let's say every single day, let's say that's your focus, you are inevitably like you're improving, you know? So it just is like a little trick to make you not get overwhelmed, but still like work on yourself. Like your favorite self, it makes you feel good. Usually most of us already know at least a little bit what our favorite self is. Like when I'm with this person, I feel like my favorite self. When I'm doing these activities, I feel like my favorite self. When I'm dressed in this way or when my hair is this way, I'm my favorite self. When I spend my day in this way, I'm my favorite self. You know, it can be like anything. And you can, again, make this very visual. You can print out photos and kind of create a vision board of like, this is what my favorite self looks like. And it just kind of helps you to not get overwhelmed again. And it helps you to see what makes you happy. Because a lot of the times when we're setting goals, we can sometimes become not even superficial, but we just focus on things that maybe wouldn't even make us feel good if we actually made them happen. You know, maybe it's like a pressure from the outside world, whatever it might be. With this, like my favorite self, it is so personal. It is you. It's who you are. It is what makes you happy, what makes you feel at peace. Like it really, really helps you. So if that's something you struggle with, I really recommend this exercise. Okay, and I actually made a whole video about this. I totally forgot, so I'll link it down below. Okay, now let's get into the planning portion of the journaling prompts. Here, the review part of the journaling prompts that we already did is really gonna help you. So I highly recommend doing that first because it's really gonna impact and just kind of help you see where you want to move towards. Like, this is where I've been. I have a clear picture of that. This is what worked. This is what didn't. And now I know that this is what I want to focus on. This is where I want to go. So we're going to start off with, how can I change my environment to better reflect where I'm going instead of where I've been? So this kind of takes us back to what I talked about at the beginning of this video. Your environment can really influence how you feel, and it can also be a great tool to help you create your new goals or habits and stick with them. How can I change the way I show up physically to better reflect where I'm going? So this can be your appearance, how you dress, your hair, your makeup, whatever. Like maybe you've had the same style since high school and now you're, up trying to be a businesswoman. Like maybe we need to switch things up a little bit so that can inspire you to become this person that you want to become. Or maybe it's the way you speak. Maybe you use a lot of curse words and you're like, the person that I want to become doesn't speak that way, is more like polite, or, shows up in a more confident way, or speaks up, or, it can be just in general, your energy, your vibe, the way you show up, the way people see you, or just your appearance. Next one, what is the identity I want to take on this new year? So I talked about this in my discipline video, which is one of my favorite videos I've made. So if discipline is something you want to work on this year, I will link it down below. We as people act in alignment with who we believe we are. And our brain just shows us proof of that everywhere. So if you're someone who's never been into fitness and working out and now you want to become that, if your identity is like, oh, I've never worked out, I always hated gym, like I just hate that, and you keep telling yourself that, it's going to be really hard to change those habits and to reach those goals. So it's very helpful to take on a new identity that feels realistic. What about 2023 am I bringing into the new year? This next prompt is going to be something that I want you to hear and just write down whatever pops up first, because the way this question is set up, it really activates like your intuition. Don't overthink this. Whatever comes up first, write it down. Right now, do it. What would someone who really loves themselves do differently this year? The next one, what is one action or routine that I can incorporate into my daily life to feel like my favorite self? What is one habit or system that will be the most impactful for me this year? So if you imagine yourself standing at the end of 2024, what habit made the biggest difference? What are some of the scary things I can do to stretch outside my comfort zone? We're going to look at the wheel that we've made here, and you're just going to write it down just so you have it all in one place. What are the categories of your life you wish to prioritize this year? I wouldn't choose more than 3. The last one is, what is my intention for the year? Like your overall, let's say, word of the year. And it's really going to help you to just kind of review everything you've written up to this point. And that's really going to help you to very clearly see what you want to focus on. Okay, now let's move on to actually setting the goals. This is going to be so much easier now that you have all of that information, but it is important to set really smart goals. So this is actually, is it called an acronym in English? I don't know. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So that is just something you can keep track of. Like when you're thinking of new goals, just make sure that they are very specific. You have a set time for when you're going to accomplish it. You can measure and track them, and it's something that's realistic and achievable within that 1 year time frame, or if you want to focus on 3 months, whatever floats your boat. Something that has changed my goal planning a lot is to focus on 3 categories. So we already kind of talked about that in the wheel. So you can see where the biggest difference of like where you colored it in and where the dot is, and you can pick up to 3 categories, and that's going to be your main focus. And then for each category, you can write up to 3 goals. This is something that just really helps me to stay focused on what I want this next 3 months or next year to be about. Make it, again, achievable. Make it something that's realistic. You want to also not forget to just have fun and enjoy life, you know? So just keep that in mind. If this system doesn't work for you, you can also just take broad categories. Like, for example, one category can be like personal development, just your daily life in general. The second one can be like business, finances, and then the third one can be like relationships and experiences, if that kind of helps you narrow it down. If you don't need that, obviously just list the goals that you want to accomplish, but just make sure that they're smart goals. And then I highly suggest to create trackers, whatever again works for you. We're all different when it comes to this. It can either be in Notion, you can have a whole system. I'll try to create one. If you guys want that, let me know again. I found that the easiest thing for me is to write like little squares, and every day I color it in if I accomplished it, and if I didn't, I skip a square, and then it bothers me so much that I didn't color in a square. I can't even explain it to you. So that is like a system that really works for me. It just helps you. It just keeps you going. You want to just set yourself up for success, even if it feels silly. Like, I know my system is silly, but like it keeps me going. Find a system that works for you. It's really going to help you to stay on track and to stay focused on what you want to achieve. And then the last tip that I have, or like a system that you can create that's also going to really help you to stay focused and on track, is to create a monthly reset where you kind of reflect on the previous month and you review how much you've done in terms of your goals and habits and everything you want to achieve. And then you can kind of create a more informed plan for the next month. That is so helpful. You can also do it weekly. I think monthly is like good enough because you want to make it something that you actually stick with. There's so many monthly routines online. Let me know if you want to see mine and I can kind of give you my system. But that is super helpful just to kind of have something that you do, for example, once a month that keeps you on track and keeps you focused. We want to just kind of avoid like writing down a lot of goals, getting super excited, and then just like forgetting about them in less than a month. So this is going to give you like an upper hand and just kind of help you to, again, set yourself up for success and stay focused. Alrighty guys, that is all for this video. Let me know again if you want that Notion page so I can start working on it now because it takes a while. Also, please let me know when you want to see these vlogs of me kind of going through all of these things and reviewing my year and planning for the new year, because I'm unsure. Like, should I wait until December? Are you guys ready for it already? Let me know. Okay. That is all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful. Again, subscribe if you want to stick around. I would really appreciate it. And check out my social media as well if you're interested in my more day-to-day normal life. And we can connect on there. And I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye!